John Scott with our Sabres and NHL Insider Paul Hamilton here outside of the One Bills Drive facility where the Bills are so graciously hosting the Sabres for this wonderful decentralized draft. That's a whole conversation, Paul, we will not get into. I think we all collectively can agree this stunk. It was so long and just chaotic. It was terrible. But it was nice to be in the
NHL has to get back to what they used to do. This did not work.
It did not work, and I think anyone who watched it would wholeheartedly agree. Speaking of not working out, Kevyn Adams, a story and an explanation we have heard now from him time after time after time after time. Tons of conversations about trading the 9th overall pick, none of them presenting a package that would make the Sabres better right now. Let's just start with that. The no trade, something you had put out there to people. Hey, he's going to try. I just don't necessarily expect it. I'm sure it didn't surprise you they didn't move the pick. But what does it say about Adams and the inability to get a deal done again?
What I try to do in the off season is don't get excited in June or July. If we're talking about this in September, that's when I decide, hey, you didn't get the job done. You've got to get the job done. And there's still opportunities to get the job done. So, all right, you didn't trade the 9th pick. You didn't like what was offered. You didn't like what was there. Okay, it's still your job. And I know what he said, that they're trying to be better defensively. They have to be. They can't be 29th in the league. That's true. But you still do have to replace the goals. And as I always say now, because Jason Zucker said it and I agree, hope is not a strategy. You can't hope that Zach Benson is going to start scoring goals. You can't hope that Jack Quinn is going to recover. I think Jack Quinn is capable of scoring 30 goals in this league, but I don't know if he's going to do it next year or ever. So hope is not, so you have to, I think, improve your forwards, improve your top six. There's free agency. These trades can still be made. Just because you didn't trade your first pick doesn't mean trades can't be made. They didn't trade their first pick when they picked up Kesselring and Doan. You know, so trades can still be made. So there's still a couple of months to make them. The Skinner trade happened in August. That's when they acquired Jeff Skinner. So if we're still talking about this in September when they go to training camp, that's when I'm going to say what I'm going to say. But right now, there's still time to get those ingredients that you need.
And Kevyn Adams saying that after the first round was completed here today when asked about the potential of moving here. He stays at 9th overall, and he gets a very, very, very big 6'5", 220-pound defenseman in Radim Mrtka. I'm amazed I got that the first time around here. Someone that was on your radar for them, should they stay 9th overall. What are the Sabres getting in this prospect?
Well, you're getting a good two-way defenseman, and he talked about that when he talked about himself and how he plays. From what I read and talking to people, they'd like him to be a little bit more aggressive. Well, right now, when he gets to the NHL, who knows if Samuelson's going to be here? I'm sure Power probably will be. But you've already got some guys who are big but aren't aggressive. But you know, he can learn that. He had some other things going on. He comes over for Czechia. He's having trouble with English. You know, he's trying to fit in Seattle out there. So there were some other things going on too. So that doesn't worry me right now as far as, you know, 6'6" guy who they hope is going to be more aggressive. But he has a lot of the ingredients that they like. He's not a guy that's going to show up here in the fall and be a Buffalo Sabre. I know sometimes, I mean, they gave Benson that opportunity, but that doesn't happen very often. Once in 20 years, maybe.
Right.
You know, so he's not going to be a Buffalo Sabre for a couple years. That's what happens. Not very many 9th picks are their first year. So you're going to have to develop him. It's going to be a couple years before you see him. And your defense is going to be it's going to be a whole different defense by the time he's ready. Clifton's probably not going to be around. Samuelson's probably not going to be around. Byram's probably not going to be around. So it's going to be a whole different ball game.
It's going to be Dahlin and Power.
Yeah.
It's going to be Dahlin and
Kesselring.
Power. And Kesselring potentially. And he raved about Rasmus Dahlin. I actually loved talking with him on the Zoom call. First and foremost, it's very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. All the time. And for a guy that admitted, he said, listen, we kind of overchecked, you know, they learn English, but he didn't have a great grasp on it. He said from here, getting stateside, he learned it from just listening, and that always astounds me for a kid that is that young from just that social and the whole life-changing sort of things. I was really impressed from him, even though he still has a way to go with his English.
He does. It's not the worst I've ever heard. I mean, yeah, it's okay. You can have a conversation with him, but what I like is he doesn't seem nervous about it.
No.
Considering where he was when he got here, and as he said, he had English classes over there. He thought he was be okay, but he got here and it's like, no, I'm not going to be okay. It's a little different taking it in class than when you come and start speaking.
I took 4 years of French, and I would be totally lost over in France if I had to just be thrust into the deep end just like that.
Right. So he had some of those things to take care of, too, in his first season with Seattle.
Yeah. So now we just kind of put him off to the side here. When we got in front of Kevyn Adams, it's obviously the first time since the Peterka trade, and he was a little more forthcoming with, I think, honestly, Paul, a lot of what we already assumed. Mm-hmm. And it was Peterka is someone, as Kevyn said, the intention at the beginning of the offseason was to bring him back with this organization. As time went by, it became apparent that wasn't going to happen, and that's where this wheels in motion to trade him ultimately to Utah came about. Are you surprised, and how do you feel about how this ultimately all played out?
No, I'm not surprised. I believe him that they wanted to sign him when the off-season first started. Peterka made no indication he was unhappy, when we talked to him in April. But as Kevyn Adams said, it got to the point where it wasn't going to work out. And they figured it out that it wasn't going to work out. So now you're going to have to move him. And that's, what they wanted to do. Kesselring was a big part of that. They liked what they saw with him. He checks a lot of the boxes that they want. Bigger, willing to hit, has really improved, showed that he can play anywhere on the defense. He played in the top 4 for Utah. His numbers were great. Even when he was in the bottom, his numbers were good. So you could put him anywhere in there, and he responded. I watched him for Team USA. He was great. They put him in a lot of pressure situations with the team that won the gold medal with Tage Thompson, and I thought he came through. I really noticed him a lot. I watched all Team USA's games, and he stuck out to me as a guy because I don't see a lot of Utah games. I'm watching the Sabre games. So, and he really stuck out to me then as a really good, solid player.
Let's wrap it up on this. News coming out right before the draft getting underway this evening. The Sabres signing Jack Quinn to a 2-year extension worth over $3.3 million annually. We were sitting next to each other, so I know your reaction. Why don't you tell them at home?
Nothing has changed in my thought. If I were the GM, he would have got a qualifying offer, and that's it. I still think he has an opportunity to score 30 goals in this league. I'm not going to predict that he is going to. I maybe would have predicted last offseason that he was going to. But after I saw what happened this past year, I think he needs to have a show-me year. He needs to have a year where he can prove to everybody that he's going to be a good player. Now, this is only 2 years, so if he doesn't improve, you only got 1 year left. But it's still a lot more money than I would have given him without showing me that he can get back to what he was. So for me, it would have been a qualifying offer. It's a 1-year deal. Show me.
Now, Adam's saying, when asked about the Quinn extension, his body wasn't right a year ago, and maybe that was part of it. And now he basically admitted they're doing this deal for the upside. Mm-hmm. Should we be doing upside deals at this point in someone's career?
Not
like
anymore. They've done that before, and look what's happened. A lot of young players got contracts that they probably should not have gotten. So I think maybe you learn your lesson from that, and it seemed like they had, because none of these guys, Byram, Peterka, McLeod, any of the restricted free agents got offers. They could have been signed since last July, and none of them did. So I thought, well, maybe you've learned your lesson here. As again, this is only a 2-year contract, so it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work. You're not stuck for 5 years or anything like that. But I would have liked to give him some incentive to, get better. And I know he works hard. I get all that. But he just wasn't right at times. I've wondered out loud to you and Adam and to the radio station, Samuelsson and Quinn, have the injuries just taken their toll on their bodies? because they just aren't the way they used to be. Samuelsson used to be a very good shutdown defenseman. He was at times, he wasn't at times. It just doesn't seem like he can get consistent with it anymore. And how much do these major injuries that keep cropping up take out of your body? Who knows? I'm not a doctor. I can't say, but I do wonder how much they do take out of you.
A new strength and conditioning staff with the Sabres. Maybe that's
That could
part
help.
of the plan and the reasoning behind that move. Finally, Paul, rounds 2 through 7, Sabres have 9 picks. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to be here, so God bless you with that. Is there anything that could happen tomorrow that would really move the needle for you with this team for this upcoming season?
The picks themselves aren't going to get you the type of players we're talking about. That doesn't mean trades can't be made. You might make a trade that includes a second-round pick, or you might include a third-round pick, that you're getting the player that we're talking about. But the picks themselves, once you get out of the first round, no, that's not going to get it done. But that doesn't mean other trades can't be made along the way.
We'll find out. 9 picks. Sabres don't need 9 more players in this pipeline of prospects when they can't seem to trade the ones that they already have that don't have a path to the roster that hasn't made the playoffs for 14 straight years. Man, Paul, it's midnight. I'm being really positive right now after the first round.
Hey, it's hockey. It's a beautiful day. Usually, if we were standing out here in hockey season, we'd be freezing to death right now.
That's true, but you could be standing in Los Angeles right now instead of Orchard Park, a beautiful Orchard Park, albeit. Again, rounds 2 through 7 on Saturday beginning at noon. With Paul Hamilton, I'm John Scott for Channel 2 Sports.